It's a visit with a person of high strangeness. Today is sort of a special day because, as you know, twice a year we do the predictions for an upcoming time period. Now this time it was a little weird because the station was closed for 2 years due to COVID. So I want to talk to you for a minute here before we get going on what I want to do here. So anyway, because of that, a lot of people needed the studio to do what they do, and so I couldn't get the time slot that I wanted because normally this would have been filmed in October, and we would already know about next year. And so this time it didn't happen like that. And I did a 5-week workup myself on the part that I'm going to read to you, and I ran into something enormous for 2023, but I couldn't identify it. I cannot identify what it is. It affects everybody. And so I went to search for an astrologer. Now, as you know, we have, where's the picture? We have Lokesh. Well, I'll show them to you later. Lokesh Kumar from India, he's the astrologer that usually does a workup for the show, and he was very broad and he couldn't detail anything. And so then I called a couple other people and they didn't know what to do. And then eventually I ran into an astrologer from Seattle. His name is Rick Levine. You can find him on YouTube, Rick Levine. And what he does is he does charts for the month, the days, and sometimes he's so accurate, he can go right down to the time of day when something is going to occur. So I was trying to get a hold of him, but that was not possible. He never answered me. So there was that, and then by coincidence, one of my old shows with an astrologer named Mahala aired, and I thought that was interesting because I had totally forgot that I had done this show in 2002. Now, go back to the last one, the one that we filmed in July for 22. One of the things it mentioned was that everything was a repeat. Things was repeating, and all we had to do is take a look at how we solved the problem the last time and act, and react the same way, and we would sort of maybe either solve the problem or get ready for it. And I found that really interesting because everything was really accurate from the one in July. And so I called her, and she was ill, she couldn't come. And so then I called my cousin, Becky Loveland, and she did a workup, and she couldn't get nowhere because it was like everybody that we knew of was running into a brick wall. It's like we couldn't go any further. Now, while watching the November chart from Rick Levine, he showed where the planets were in 2002, and he made reference to the repeats. Because I'm not an astrologer, so I could not comprehend what I was looking at. But when I looked at the show from Mahala, I had asked her a question, and she very patiently explained all the signs and signals to me so I could ask intelligent questions, if you will. Well, what I realized is that those charts were identical from Mr. Levine and from Mahala. And so in December's forecast, Mr. Levine is talking about that he showed the planets again, and he mentioned the fact that everybody at all is stuck at the moment. We cannot go beyond a certain time because we have new beginnings, and we're just stuck. We can only go so far. All I know is that by the end of the spring, something big is going to happen that's going to affect everybody. And I don't know whether it is financial, environmentally, or politically, but it's so noticeable we can't miss it. So we kind of need to brace ourselves a little bit and remember that everything we do is a repeat. So all we have to do is go backwards, look at what we did the last time, and so we don't have to get so stressed out, if you will. Now, each year I have Lokesh Kumar Singh, the astrologer from India, by the way, that is airing this show also on his program. I'm going to show you a picture of him. Things are a little different here today. This is what he looks like. He just won an award from the government, and he's been very accurately working with me for, the last 4 years, I believe. And so, to remind you what he looks like, there's nobody here. Can I put it down now?
Yeah, we have that.
All right. I'm talking to the control room, but you know I do this all the time. So let's go see what he has to say first. And I'm as blind as a bat, so. Okay. All he got was, in the last few months, he said, a big global organization will break up. Some countries will not listen to the big countries, but he wasn't able to go any further. But his time frame is like my own, and we don't quite know. We don't quite know. I don't have my workup. Oh my goodness, I don't have my workup with me. That's not good. But anyway, we had the same timeline, and this is not good. That is Kumar, Lokesh Kumar. Now this here is my cousin Becky. She is also very accurate, and she started to do a workup, and then she came down with COVID, and that prevented her from going any further. Now, I'm in a panic mode at the moment because my 12 months workup is either in a big bag over here, or I forgot it at home. Can you believe it? I haven't been doing so well. Can I put it down?
Yes.
Okay, cool. In the workup that I did, it was talking about, here, let's do Becky first. Let's do Becky first. She said, where is it? Here it is. She said she believes that Mr. Trump will kind of quietly leave the country, maybe to Saudi Arabia in 2023. I had something different, but that's okay. They haven't seen anything like the 22 fires that will destroy much more of California. There will be stronger gun control passed in 2023. The old Republican Party will become stronger in 23. The Democrat and Republican parties will become bipartisan in 23, and COVID is not even close to being over. Now, to remind you, my shows are religiously and politically neutral, except for this one, because I don't know what I'm running into. I can't get to my workup. It's on the other end of the room, so we just have to muddle through it some kind of way. What I saw was, I don't see anything. Let's just stay. That is just a term that I use. Now, it directed me to the following book, Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And so I bought it, and can you find my notes for me? Oh, how wonderful. Somebody came to my aid. If you roll it, I don't know which bag. If you roll the whole thing over here. Anyway, you look at this book. It's really interesting because here's my walker. I don't know where it is. I'm sorry. I don't have it. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, here's the book. It is worth buying it because it shows you everything that's going on politically at the moment has been set in place. It goes way back to the Reagan administration, and so in case you're interested in politics, that'll help you understand how we ended up where we are. And I don't have my notes. So it said, if I remember correctly, it said that we would have bouts with a COVID-like illness. We would have to watch our money because things is very vulnerable. And since I started 5 weeks ago, I'm assuming that the crash of the Bitcoin comes into that category, because sometimes when I look at something, it happens so fast. By the time I get to the studio, it has happened already. It said to relax and kind of go with the flow because we have seen all these things before. Politically, it'll be really hectic at the moment, and the churches would rear their head again, wanting to change things and influence people. Excuse me. I cough because of my obstruction, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time for that. Let's see what else was there. Train derailments were in those predictions, and I don't remember. Maybe I'll think about it and it'll give it back to me while I'm doing the actual reading. Now today was interesting when I came. I haven't done this in a long time, so I went outside and asked Universe for a little help, and here came crows. It must have been 100 crows, so I got my confidence back, and I thought it was amazing, but I didn't have a camera, so I couldn't show it to you. So let's see what we got here. We will make the country, let's make the country female this time. We usually, when it's male, it's very focused and very harsh, but I think it's going to calm down a little bit, and so we're going to make it female because females have compassion and they sort of think broad this way. So let's see what we got here. I work with 2 decks, so we don't have to wait so long. To verify something, there is 1 card I use. When in doubt, it'll let me know, regardless of how crazy it sounds, to stick with that. There is that. And I troubleshoot and let you know what's coming. And the reason for that is so we can deal with situations better. But normally what happens is nobody pays attention, and then when something does happen, you call me and you say, oh, you were right. I need you to make me wrong about everything that's not to your liking, because that's the purpose. It's like a preventative type thing what we're doing here, okay? So we make the country female. I can't believe I didn't bring my notes. Maybe they were outdated already, you know? It was talking about airplanes falling out of the sky. Well, that's already happening. That's current. So the legal system is going to have issues. Yeah. There will be physical problems at jails, at prisons. Now, I couldn't tell you if this was the actual building or the inmates, but there will be issues with the legal system and the prisons themselves. Also, some of the mental hospitals will be either overhauled or newly staffed, where people have to resign, or there are issues with the legal system. Not the legal system, the mental health system, the mental health hospitals and everything. Now, I want to say something. Becky said that she thinks that ex-President Trump is going to leave. In 2018, and there was only one time, it showed that in 18 I saw him losing all his money, and I saw him in a small place with a toilet. And at that time I thought maybe at one point he was going to prison. But then I was talking to one of my psychiatrist friends, and they said that in those mental hospitals, you also have rooms with a toilet in it. So I'm going to stick with that part of it, because the way our things are going. Now back to what she said, that he was leaving. If that's the case, and I don't know how that's going to play out with what she said and what I said, but if he leaves the country and something happened, we just have to wait. We just have to wait and see. But I think there are going to be a lot of changes with Mr. Trump himself. And some of the people is going to be real distraught about that, and it's almost like they have to start from scratch. And this new time period, this new, I won't call it system, but the new way of doing things, the new things that Mr. Levine talked about, I think that is going to be right on time, starting the end of December, I think he said. And from what I'm looking at here, this hectic craziness, this craziness that we are in at the moment, is going to come to an end. So I'm confident with that. Health issues, many people is going to have health issues, and it has to do, it's muscular, it's like they having trouble getting around and moving around now. Lately, quite a few of you have called me about these weird headaches that you're having. When I looked at that, and it said it would have to do with sound, that would include healing bowls and the things you stick in the wall for your bugs, and anything that makes sounds that we don't hear on a conscious level, or G5 or something. Something's going on. And I do know that the Hadron Collider has been turned up again. So I think a lot of the headaches have an outside source rather than an illness. Did I say that right? I think I did. So we have to give up some things in order to regain, well, control is the wrong word, so we can get a handle on what's going on. It also looks like 2 people is going to have one job. Yeah, it's like they're hiring 2 people to do what one person used to do. And I'm almost thinking that can have something to do with benefits, because if you work part-time, then you don't get your medical benefits or anything like that. But some kind of way, it's going to look like everybody has a job, except it is not what they need, and it's not enough time and hours to maintain a decent living. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but that's sort of disturbing, actually. And so on the books, it's going to look really good, but what it is and what they say is two different things. There will be issues with transport ships on waterways, especially early in the spring. Excuse me. Some of the land masses will sort of shift, but they are already doing that because of the volcanoes that is presently active. So I don't know if the land mass shifting has something to do with how the water runs or anything. It could also be, well, if it was flooded, they could still run, but I don't know what I'm looking at, okay? But there are going to be issues with ships especially on the rivers. Post office is going to have issues. a lot of issues. They will discontinue things that they do for us. We're going to get very frustrated. It's not a good time because we order so much online, and that whole setup on how to deliver things should not get disrupted, or else we really gonna have a problem here. Interest rates will continue to go up. Interesting. But if we just, instead of blaming everybody, if we just do the best that we can on a personal and all pull together, then we can come out of that. And I work with 2 decks. So when I have 2 of the same, it usually lets me know to stick with that, even though I can't detail it. It doesn't make too much sense to me at the moment. So I'm sticking with that. I have a different card for marijuana than I do for hard drugs. And the drug problem, so you're talking about the pills and the cocaine and all of that. That whole problem per se is going to intensify somewhat between now and midsummer, I would say, and then after that it doesn't say anything. But we will have to make some changes in how we handle this, and eventually we can master how we handling this. There is a respect issue, meaning nobody respects each other. That could also come into the category with what's happening at Twitter, in places where we can no longer speak our mind, unfortunately, because it has been misused. We would like for people not to monitor what we say or do, but time has proven that so many irresponsible people out there put us in a position where some of that is necessary, because every time something goes wrong, they holler for regulations and investigations and things on one hand. On the other hand, they want to be free to say what they want. So you've got a whole collision here. A mental block is a shape that stands for total chaos. And it's almost like that, where the right hand don't know what the left hand is doing, backwards. But anyway, it's going to be interesting. We're going to be able to juggle things. As a country, we're not going to be very loving, unfortunately. And this is not a sexual reference, but loving each other as a whole. I can't put a time period on this, but we're going to be able to juggle some things, and then it goes back to the prisons. I'm going to go back to what I said. There's going to be a problem with the legal system and the prison system, but I don't know if it's the buildings or the people themselves, and that can actually get out of hand and be a little dangerous for most of us, for the main population, especially in that area. And this is the card I use when I'm in doubt and I don't know what I'm talking about. When I get this, it says you stick with this. It's correct. So I'm sticking with that. I can't put a time period on this. And even though we just now got through through that election cycle there, normally we get a little reprieve where we can breathe a little easier. I don't see that coming at all. I think everything is going to, on the daily news every day, for 24, even though it's 2 years. It's 2 years in advance, and especially come November, it's going to be a real problem to the point where we don't even want to turn the TV on anymore. So many contributors and advertisers have pulled their money from private people and organizations and things that maybe it's the political aspects of everything where we see a lot more political ads, whether we need them or not. So I think that's what's going to happen. I mentioned the post office already. Unfortunately, there is going to be no changes with the student loans. It's like, it looks like they're working on it, but they're not really. It's like they put everything on hold. It's like everything is on hold, especially things that have to do with money. Now, when you look at the predictions from the update from 22, where it talked about repeats, some of these things we have seen before. So try to have some money in your possession if you need it in an emergency, but kind of keep an eye on where your money goes, who keeping it, who is investing it. That would also go for the social programs, I think, because there's going to be a issue with money. That's accurate. So. The country is, remember we made it female, the country is going to be a little softer, so to speak, figuratively speaking, than it was in 21 and 22. But don't hold your breath, because if you relax too much, you're going to miss something that's really, really important. And but we mentioned the churches there for a minute, where everything's supposed to be good and evil. Use a different word for that, because that's an inaccurate description of the whole thing. Most of the jobs that will be cut in two, like I said earlier. It's like they're hiring 2 people to take one job, what used to be 8 hours, maybe it's 4.5 or 5. And I think, again, that is in order to not have to pay some of the, benefits and things. And so people's credit scores are going to drop. It's going to be harder to get a loan. Interest will be higher. And from what I understand, and I saw that on TV, the housing market is sort of stable now. So it'll take that madness out of the equation, I believe. Gun control is going to be a great big mess during the summer. Very immature decisions. I don't think they're ever going to resolve anything. They're just putting a Band-Aid on things. And a lot of that has to do with young people. I would think that maybe older people would demand gun control more than young people, but from what I'm looking at, it's the other way around. People misusing guns, they get younger and younger. Yeah. A big part of the country will have to relocate or be evacuated, so I'm assuming that's a natural disaster. in a state that has a lot of water. Let's see who could. What's that? Michigan, the middle part of the country. Something is gonna. Let's see which one of the states is the land of the lakes. I think that's Michigan. If I'm in the wrong state, then you know what I mean. But the state with the most lakes and things is gonna have issues where they have to evacuate a lot of people, and that of course is just gonna disrupt everything. Well, it goes back to the ships that is having problems with the rivers. So the supply line of everything is going to be disrupted there some kind of way. As a whole, the spending that America is doing for other countries for war purposes and everything else, I think it's gonna slow down a little bit, not by much. We have to get a handle on this, or else we're gonna run out of money ourselves. And most of us know that, but you know, what can we do except point it out? A lot of things are predestined. Now, predestined in my vocabulary means no matter what you do, it's predestined. It's supposed to be like that, and no matter what you do, it's going to play out like that. So there is some things we just cannot change. And back to the book that my workup suggested, I would really suggest you get that book, Horsemen of the Apocalypse, The Men Who Are Destroying Life on Earth and What It Means for Our Children. It's written by Dick Russell, and it's edited, and the introduction is by Robert Kennedy Jr. It's very interesting, and you will recognize a lot of the names, especially some of us older people. But the thing is, some of the older politicians are resurfacing, like Newt Gingrich, for instance. Has nobody said anything about him for a long time, but he has resurfaced. So, if you plan on getting married, you should do it sooner than later, because I think all goods connected to marriage is going to go sky high, where you can't really can't afford to get married. Boy, that's crazy. Yeah. I don't think the epidemics are finished, because hospitals are going to be overrun with people. So yeah, I don't think we're done with these illnesses that we have, because hospitals just don't have enough accommodations and not enough money, because a lot of people get sick and go and don't have insurance. So what do you do? So there's also the possibility that they have problems collecting the money from people that had already been in the hospital and run into some financial issues here, to the point where they have to retire people early and just can't keep up with the financial part of what it is that they need to do. Let's see. As a whole, we're going to be going in circles again, but we did that earlier in 22. We had a spell like that where we were chasing our tail there momentarily, but then we sort of came out of it again. And again, I like to encourage you to, on YouTube, to look at Rick Levine. I don't have my notes, so I can't give you the number, but look him up, and once a month he does that astrological chart, and it is so accurate. I've been keeping track of that, so I highly recommend that, so you can have a general idea of what you're up against. Some of the Alcoholic programs will be cut. Maybe not cut, but less and less people will go into treatment. We're just gonna keep drinking, I guess. We already had this. This is money from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's almost an infusion of funds for the government now. Unless they're borrowing it somewhere or they actually going to stop giving away so much. But I do see an infusion of money coming our way for a change. And I don't know what that is. And well, here's water, and so it must be coming from overseas somewhere. And in the marijuana industry is doing well. And I'm glad things got legalized because that helps a lot of people overcome little small issues and illnesses, and that was so stupid anyway. I saw a report where they, a prisoner had served 33 years for smoking marijuana, and the first thing he saw when they finally let him out after 33 years was a big sign. It says, "Marijuana, we deliver." And I thought that was a little idiotic, but I think they're going to try to find something else that they can tax, you know, because like any time, like for cigarettes, for instance, you know, once it was not acceptable to smoke anymore, cigarettes went sky high. So I'm assuming by marijuana being legal, that by them trying to control this industry and taxing it to death, that they're going to have to find something else that's illegal, else they can lock up everybody. Did I say that? Yeah, I guess I did. A lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety. A lot of the parents are unaware what to do about potential dangers for their children in school. Not sure how that's going to be handled, but I think there'll be hearings on a subject like that come summer. What are they going to do about it? If anything, I don't know. But it's going to be looked at almost from that female perspective, like what we started out with, instead of going this way, where they look at different alternatives. A lot of arguments about that. I'm not sure if they're really going to get somewhere, because their thinking is going backwards again. But I think what's going to promote these hearings and everything is another disaster where children are involved with the schools and things. So that don't look very good. The whole year looks kind of messed up. I wish I had my notes, and I don't know why they're not here. Maybe I wasn't supposed to tell you what I was looking at. My generation, us baby boomers, a lot of us is going to leave. Our time's up, so you take the reign and try to do better than what's going on at the moment. The death penalty is going to be looked at again. Nothing's going to get resolved, but at least they're looking at the whole thing again. Yeah, and then here it shows agencies again, like not agencies, but the places where people, not AAA, AA and places like that, self-help places where people meet. That's going to slow down. So I don't know if people is trying to get the information from the internet or not, but yeah, that's going to slow down, because I think we're going to get stupid. I mean, the education is there. Now, if you turn on the TV, like, I have been ill for a long time, so chances are this is my last live taping anyway. I've been doing this this is 24 years now. But the thing is here, during COVID, and now that I'm ill and I can't do this, I'm playing old shows from 98, from 98 onward. But every Tuesday, when you look at something, it's almost like it happened last week, and people can relate to. So as we regurgitate that time period, what the last 24 years, almost every week there's something in there that applies to us right now, and somebody has an idea what to do about it. So I would encourage you to watch my shows on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, and I do live stream them on Facebook. So, yeah, and us old fogies, we, I don't mean that in an insulting way for some of us old timers, you know, but our time is up, you know, so we need to take a deep breath and trust that the young people will make good decisions, and maybe I can't say better decisions because it's a different world. So it's a different world. What we had to work with is different than what they have to work with, but we have to trust that they can run their own affairs and they run the world the way they need to, and not the way we wanted to do it. So, and the other thing is, when you stop and think about us baby boomers, now we keep complaining about, oh, the young people, they're doing this and they're doing this, and you ought to do something about that. Within yourself, go back to that time period and try to remember what you did when you was that age. Yeah. So, kind of slack off a little bit and let the young people make some decisions. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much what it says here. With the last 4 cards I'm looking at, it says to go with the flow. To go with the flow, and too many chiefs at the moment. A lot of anxieties. We have to be more loving. But yeah, it's like the country is trying to give birth to something. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. The only thing I can suggest that maybe, I don't know if I will be able to come back into the studio in the middle of the year because of my health. But if you know something that's important, if you say something, maybe we can look at that either privately or make a discussion group somewhere on Facebook or whatever it is, and to sort it out so we can be better prepared for what's coming. Like I said, I don't know, it could be environmental, it could be political, and it could be financial, but whatever it is, put on your seatbelt. Yeah. No, because if you put on a seatbelt, you're strapped in and you're stuck in that situation. Don't do the seatbelt, do this like the skateboard, you know, where you can go to the left and you can go to the right and you can dodge things. Don't do the seatbelt. Try to be flexible and mobile in order to weave your way through whatever it is that's coming. Yeah, don't do the seatbelt. Yeah. Let's see. There's an older female that's coming to the forefront. I don't know in what capacity. We don't have Oprah anymore, but who knows? Maybe we'll have somebody else that'll at least talk to the people once a week or twice a week or every day that actually has enough sense to explain things to people. I'm going to stick with that too, because, but it's an older woman. Yeah, an older woman. And you're back to the weddings. You better go do it now, because it's going to get very, very expensive here shortly. Bridges have to be fixed. We cannot put that off anymore. The rail system is going to have issues. Already had that. We had that. We had that. Yeah, I would think between the end of spring and June, it's going to be really challenging for America as a whole. So if you have any ideas what there could be at a later time, say something so we can sort of prepare, because I don't know what I'm looking at. I just don't know, and nobody else seems to know at this time. And it's predestined. So in other words, it's already put in place, and regardless, it's going to happen, and we just have to work around it. But we will come out okay on the other end. What okay means, I can't tell you what okay is. I don't know if it's okay on a personal, or if it's okay as a whole, or if it's a whole new era starting. You know, the Earth is in a different orbit. The time is off by milliseconds. No, less than, not seconds, not with an S. It's very, very little. But everything is sort of out of whack here a little bit. So for those of you with the scientific mind that follow these things on the internet, and NASA is really good about talking about things like that. And what's the man's name? Degassi? I think his name's Degassi. He has a program where he explains things in plain English, not using big words, where at least we can understand it. So if you have a headache with an outside source, you don't run to the doctor and take a bunch of pills and null your senses. That's not going to work. I'm going to pick these up here and see what happens. I have a total blank as to what was on my notes. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Now, for some reason, we have the tendency to go from one group of people to another, making the enemy, you know. I'm not even sure if this is politically correct anymore. I can't sort out what I mean is, I'm trying to explain something like, there was a time we made Mexican immigrants the enemy, and then was the Asian wave, and then it was now it's the anti-Judaism over here, and so it's almost time for them to pick another group. Now, from what I understand, for those of you that follow some of the paranormal and Art Bell and people like that, the FBI had raided Dreamland, that station. I think it's a station, but it's called Dreamland. So I'm almost wondering at what point people like myself won't be targeted, because we may actually know something, and maybe we don't know something. How am I going to put this? Oh, God, I don't know if this is politically correct or not. But so if it's not, I don't know how else to explain it, and I'm sorry. But take the time to talk to people like me, not at the last minute when you have a crisis. Sometimes pay attention to us, because we can't detail things for you sometimes, and we don't care if he loves you or not. That's not what we do. You have to work out your own relationships and things, but anything on a large worldly scale, sometimes we know things, you know, and so we. What am I trying to say? I don't know how to put that, so you fill in the blanks, okay? Because I don't know how to explain that without maybe saying something that's not politically correct. Let me do it like that. Yeah, and look out for your elders. A lot of us are getting old and we need a helping hand. And when you explain something, don't say all you got to do, push here, push here, push here. It doesn't matter. Our brain does not comprehend that. Please have patience with your elders and check on them and try to be helpful. I'm going to put 12 cards here and see what happens. Yeah, we will get rid of the male line of thinking. Eventually, we will come out okay. We'll reach out our hand to, we'll reach out to others to, what am I looking for? To make an effort so we understand each other better. We have to work on the respect issue between the generations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. And I'm going to stick with that. Eventually, our money will straighten out. Now, at what point and how, I don't know. But in the meantime, we're going to take a hit with the money situation. And yeah. The medicine supply is going to be slowly coming back, because from what I understand at this point, a lot of medications are not available. So ask your grandmother if she has any remedies from the good old days. And sometimes that actually works. And yeah, a lot of relocations. So I think the disasters is going to continue. Like Becky said, the fires in California, but I see a lot of water too. It's either too much or none at all. So I think that's all I have for you today. I've got, my health is not getting any better, and in fact, I have help at home now. And so as far as the shows, I will continue playing every week where you have shows. When it comes to new things, I'm not sure if I can accommodate you. If things stay the way they are, we will do an update probably in July, August. And if not, then please find other alternatives and other reliable people that you can have them guide you or something. And take a look at Levine, Rick Levine. So there's that. And from what I understand, Locash is going to be in America at one point, I believe in August. But I don't know when, so check with me on Facebook. I will post all of that. And I've talked your head off, and that's all I know for today. So you have a safe and prosperous 2023, please. And try to get used to that new world that's coming. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm not talking about a religious type thing that some of you think all our problems going to stop and we're all going to wake up and everything's hunky-dory. That's not going to happen. It's just that changes are coming. And be considerate and loving to your neighbor, and take care of yourself. So I'm out of here. Happy New Year, and you take care, okay? And thank you for sticking with me for 24 years. Can you imagine that? 24 years. That's a long time. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Andrew. He didn't hear me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know who is with you in there, but thank you for everybody.
It's Audrey.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And maybe I'll see you in summer. If not, Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock and Friday mornings at 11. And I live stream on Facebook, so adios. That's it. It's a wrap.
Miss Lillian, we'd like to thank you for all the fun you took us here. Take us there, and it's just because you really care where our journey goes, or it begins. It's part of our planning will extend. And if we do our part, we'll fulfill our mission. We've had from the Lillian, Miss Lillian, like to thank you for all the fun. Take us here, and you take us there.